Welcome to the Vision Seed Podcast, where we gather in the dark beneath the soil within the luminous void from which all creation blooms. Without our sense of sight, we explore the alchemy of the creative process through intimate conversations with artists and visionaries. Together, we embrace the mystery and infinite potential of the unknown. This is a space to honor the whisper of inspiration and the dance within the blackness that births creative magic. Let's journey into the void. So, Grace, as you sit here, I'll invite you to allow attention to drift to the area of the body that is in this moment sensate or calling on attention. And once you've arrived there, becoming curious as to the color, the texture, the form, and any words that want to come along the way. When you're ready, you can share a couple of those with me and let me into the image.
Wow. I have been feeling some stiffness and pain in my left shoulder, and I thought that was where my attention would be drawn when you inquired. And on the contrary, I all of a sudden was pulled down to the back of my right thigh. And there's this kind of gentle throbbing. And it's not painful per se. It feels like just a point in my body trying to make itself known. And it's kind of sending ripples of sensation down to my foot. And the color that I'm kind of seeing is like a streaked, like dark red, like a streaked maroon or blood, like bright blood color.
Are there any words or concepts attached to that point, or is it storyless?
I feel myself reaching for meaning, which is something I do often.
Me too.
And I don't. So common. But I don't know that it wants meaning. Yeah, I think I think I'm like reaching for like, the Muladhara, but I don't know if that's actually
perfect.
If that's actually what's happening here.
I appreciate you honoring that. Yeah, I absolutely resonate with sometimes reaching for meaning when I ought not to, and when presence is more important than understanding. So often that's the case. So yeah, thank you for reiterating that teaching yet again. It seems to be a constant remembering of that.
Yeah.
I appreciate how naturally too you take the big sighs, the big cleansing sighs.
Yeah, I have to. I feel the Gemini moon. That Gemini moon, she feels really comfortable when definitely when I'm talking, but also chatty, but definitely also when I give myself like a lot of like breath, and it goes deep down into my emotions. Yeah. Awesome. Something buoyant.
So let's draw the breath into the Muladhara, as you already started to point towards the root. And I assume you've listened to a podcast at this point and know the roadmap. So the Muladhara and being in this root chakra, this red, is an opportunity for you to explore and share a bit about your creative path up until now and your roots as an artist. It's a great moment for any new children to get to share a little bit about why they love and loved creating art, and how that walked you up to where you are now.
I feel like my child self, she was really spunky and really creative and really like full of energy. Sometimes almost so much. My parents didn't always know what to do with it, I think. But I'd love to share a little about like where I come from with my parents. Speaking of them, my dad is a professional musician. He started out as a young adult in acting, and he lived in New York City and Chicago eventually. He worked in some pretty awesome theater companies, and then he got involved in a band in Chicago that he was still a part of when I was born. And he introduced me to a world of jazz and really old music and classical music and opera and Broadway music, and yeah, just a really colorful and like eclectic world of music. And my mother is a nurse. She's an oncology nurse, navigator, and she also is an incredible visual artist. I got to witness her sketch and draw and paint and make paper mache and craft and sew and make so many beautiful things with her hands. So I had this beautiful container, beautiful safety net of people who really valued creation and really wanted to bring me into that world as well. And yeah, my dad started like homeschooling me when I was like before even kindergarten. He would like just kind of even teach me simple things about like tonal recognition musically and teach me how to like recognize like, oh, this is the pitch that starts this song, or once this track has ended on the CD, the next track, like can I find the pitch? It was really cool. It was really amazing, yeah, to watch movies and be so inspired by him and by my mom. And when I was around, I think the thing that I'll really speak to is like my creative awakening as a child was probably around the age of 11. I was in middle school. I just started middle school, so I was auditioning for regionals, but I grew up in Connecticut, and different schools throughout the region would audition to be a part of this like giant concert that would happen in the spring and the fall. And you could do instrumental, you could do vocal, and you'd be a part of a choir or an orchestra. And I was getting to audition for the choir. And I'd always been kind of considering myself an alto. My dad always considered me an alto. I had a big belt. I was always like belting really loud. And one day before regional auditions, my dad just put on this Hansel and Gretel Metropolitan Opera performance on TV. And I watched it, I kid you not, probably 3 or 4 times in a row that day. And by like the 3rd or 4th time, I was like fully singing everything. And I was singing like the soprano parts. And I just fell in love. Like I fell in love with the feeling of singing, like really opening myself to like maybe places in my voice that I hadn't before. Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of my biggest like childhood experience of really opening myself to a love, like a great love of using my voice, of singing. And my dad saw it, and he was like, okay, I'm actually think we're gonna sign you up for soprano for when you do regionals, and the rest is history. And I followed a path of classical training with my voice as a soprano. Yeah, and I'm really grateful, so grateful for my parents and the roots and where I come from, and in terms of art and music, and yeah.
It is so delicious to get to learn more about the people that I love through this podcast. Like, it is so gratifying to get to know another layer of someone who I consider to be one of my best friends. Like, I know your heart, but that doesn't necessarily mean I know your origin story as a creator. So that to me is really precious. Yeah, it's really sweet.
Feels really good to share. Thank you so much.
Of course. And right now, what are the walls of your current creative home made out of? What's the brick and mortar of your artistry right now?
Wow. That's beautiful. You speak with such poetry dripping off your tongue, Quincy. Wow. I'm finding myself moving out of a season of writing poetry really prolifically, like daily. And I actually got really inspired by my dear friend Tammy, who has like a daily visual art practice with herself that she's just really dedicated to. And I've been really opening myself to visual art. I've been using colored pencils, and I think entering a world kind of, again, like the thing with my leg, like kind of moving away from trying to grasp at meaning that maybe doesn't want to be found. I'm really finding a world of color, and I'm really loving engaging with, I would say, like crimson and like dark maroon and like a light pink, as well as like teal and cerulean and like maybe a purple and kind of these like richer kind of royal. Oh, an emerald. I forgot about emerald.
The jewel tone.
Yes, definitely jewel tones, but not like in a brassy way, in a very like deep and the kind that I'm kind of doing this action with my hands where I feel like I'm kind of like digging out and up almost. Yeah, where it's like, ooh, you can just land in them. These like saturated hues. Yeah, and I'm grateful to be talking with you. And I'm also so inspired by the worlds and portals you've created in your visual art. And I think I'm really entering a season of, I guess I could also add, I'm moving soon. I'm moving into a new apartment, a 1-bedroom by myself, and I'm really engaging in this world of color and texture and design as a way to curate a home. I'm even like seeing visions of it as I speak, as a way to curate a home for myself, a really safe haven, a landing spot for me. So to answer your question, like quite literally, I'm thinking about the walls that surround me, and as well as like, really creating I love Pinterest too for finding those colors and those ideas.
Yeah, you do have a highly visual inclination, I think, as well as musical, and it's really precious to see like stepping into that more. And I also wonder if the creation of your home will provide even more supportive riverbanks for that creative energy to flow through you. And aside from just being a canvas for your creativity and its decorating and its space making. I was saying to you the other day, like, I can, one of the things I'm picturing is like a coffee table with like your deck spread out over it. I'm just like, they're like, the paintings I have, or the print I have of yours, the painting of yours. You'll also be very much imbued in the space. It's an honor. It's an honor to make it in. It sounds like there's a lot of delight with the planning of the creation of your new space and moving into this new domain, this domicile, let's say, of your own. And I'm curious what else right now for you is feeling pleasurable as we move into the sacral and into some orange. Pleasure and flow. Where are you finding that like ease and expansiveness right now?
Wow, it's interesting as you asked that question. I felt in my like solar plexus actually like a kind of a small like gut punch, almost like an ow, like ooh. Yeah, and I think my sacral is feeling really oh, there's grief. Yeah, that opens the door for me for like inability to receive pleasure. I think pleasure is something I've really had a challenging relationship with in my life. I have tended to be extremely like dramatically melancholic and depressed and strained and unable to really sink into receiving pleasure One time I had a therapist ask me point blank, do you want to be held? And I burst out laughing. It was my initial reaction to just laugh hysterically at the question, at the notion of, that's absurd. In what world would I want to be held? Yeah. Like, are you ready to really be fully present with sensation? I think my pleasure has been blocked as much as my grief has been blocked. I think there's so much of the death that I held, the grief that I still can't touch. I still have never been able to feel the pain of. And I think in that way, I haven't quite excavated into that cave deeply enough to be able to say, okay, it's time for pleasure. Okay, I can actually, I'm allowed to feel this pleasure. People around me are allowed to feel pleasure. We don't just have to be stuck in this limbo of ooh, suffering is all that is life. Yeah, I need to. There's a lot of these push-pull,
wow.
It almost feels kind of like wet cement that's hardening, and I'm kind of oof, needing it, to try to break through, to be able to feel my pain and my grief around my own experiences of loss, as well as other people's that I've borne witness to. I'm really ready to start learning, to start being more open to those lessons, so that I can feel a little more pleasure, feel a little bit more and really feel it, really be present for it. And I can feel that opening is possible. And I just pray that it can happen more and more, the more that I'm able to really just be present, to really just feel to feel fully, and not run away from it because of all the other things that are required of me in this life. Yeah.
To feel, to share that.
It feels really good, and it feels like an opening. I feel like that's maybe something I haven't named as in such a frank way as I just did. So I really appreciate the inquiry. Yeah. Do you resonate with that kind of maybe having a challenging time touching pleasure, or receiving pleasure, or feeling worthy of pleasure, when you're I can't even touch what's hard, or I can't even I haven't even moved through that yet?
I think for me, first I want to name this image that was arising as you were sharing, which is we were talking about the two doors that are really one door of birth and death earlier today. And how we come in. Okay, I heard this from David White today. He, when I heard it from David White, was saying that this was a Rumi quote, though I'm not entirely sure that it is. Anyhow, the idea was that we come into this world crying while everyone in the room is beaming and laughing. And we leave the world laughing while everyone in the room around us is crying. This image that I had as you were sharing was as though birth is this great pain and death is this great pleasure, or maybe the inverse, who knows? But that those doors in us while we're living life are quivering and are both closed in a way, and there's something behind both of them that's demanding to be let out, that's trying to burst through, and that is our joy and our laughter, and that is our sorrow and our cry. And so we often try to stay in the liminal space between those worlds, because I think there's a fear that when you fully allow yourself to feel your pain, that you'll be born again into joy. When you allow yourself to fully feel your, in this case, pleasure or joy, that you will die again and enter into a winter of pain and of grief.
Absolutely.
So to be numb and slightly melancholic is safe and it's insulated. Certainly I feel that I'm not immune. I'm a human.
Yeah.
And I experience both of those poles and the grayness that exists between them, and I'm trying increasingly to allow myself to be okay with feeling my feelings all the way and becoming innocent again to my feelings and remove story around the necessity of feeling them. So
like we were as children when it felt like we could, really little, we just needed to express.
That does feel good. I am connecting with a sense of delight and the sharing. And there are tears springing up in my eyes. It feels good to allow those emotions to flow, and I think that is the essence of this energy center.
Yeah, dude, here's my truth. Here's the truth. I would cry so much if I just let myself. I cry when I'm thrilled. I cry when I see something beautiful. I cry when I'm in pain and sobbing in my car listening to some horribly melancholic music. I would just cry all the time. I would let the water flow constantly. If I gave myself permission, or if the world gave me permission, and I want to give myself more of that permission, to let the water flow and not worry that I'm going to be judged or ridiculed or told to shove the tears back up into my my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. It is so good to cry. And I feel sadness, or I suppose I should say I feel numbness for the times in my life where I can't seem to access my tears. Those are hard times. Yeah, those are hard times.
Absolutely.
So we can place a hand on the belly and begin to bring attention to this inner sun, this warmth, the solar plexus, the yellow. It feels delicate, and yet I know that so much of the medicine that we're here to share right now has to do with this topic around worthiness and identity. And I think that you have so much here, Grace, that will hold, support, and change lives if people hear this. And navigating these topics and these themes. I don't know where you want to start. I intuit you have something, and I'm gonna let you, without frame, just explore.
I would honestly love to name the vision that's coming into my mind to start. Actually, it's very simple. It's very clear. It is this uphill, maybe mountainous terrain. There are no trees anywhere. It is just these giant beige, like sun-soaked rocks that are like in front of me up this mountain, and they're all like in the way of me like arriving at the summit of this hill or this mountain. And it's so sunny. They're like, I could tell that they're like hot to the touch if I approached and touched them. And that I feel like is a visual for what I could describe as being kind of my experience with self-worth. When I pulled a card from your deck the other morning, it was a solar plexus card, and it was self-worth. I'm really being beckoned to examine this world of hurt, of wounding, of really feeling like I need to accomplish, achieve, produce, share, be seen in all of these things regarding my creativity, regarding my work, regarding my relationships, regarding my appearance, my words, my heart, my past, my future dreams. Like, so much that desires to, like, similarly maybe to my pain and my pleasure, like, that's desiring to burst forth. And there are all of these layers of, like, yeah, the belief that all of those things make up, like, are reasons why I deserve love, and that I have to be all these particular ways and do all these particular things to achieve relationship, to achieve love, to feel that I have a place in this world. I have my entire life, for as long as I can remember, struggled with really deep comparison, insecurity, competition, jealousy. I don't share this with many people, but I want to share it now. As I was growing up, from like a young age, like 6, 7, 8, all the way up until like 23, I would sometimes wake up in the morning and conjure someone in my mind that I knew, or a figure from a book, and be like, I'm going to pretend that I am that person. I'm just going to live their life. And in doing so, I spent years, decades, like, neglecting, fostering my own sense of strong, stable confidence in who the fuck I am. It went really deep, and it almost felt kind of like it was an obsession at certain points in my life, when I couldn't face the challenge of this hill, this obstructed mountain. And yeah, I find a lot of difficulty right now in balancing, even now that I have found a little bit more of who I think I am. I still feel that I'm, like, being born into that, like, constantly, as we all are, of course, but I'm working in this high-risk labor and delivery department at the hospital as a registered nurse. An inner-city hospital where I see all kinds of things. Sometimes really beautiful, beautiful deliveries that are simple and straightforward, and I'm feeling great and purposeful, and I can really bring myself in a strong, centered way. And sometimes I am working a night shift that started at 7 p.m. and it's 4 in the morning, and I'm on my second patient who is delivering, and I feel like I could drop to the floor and everything is going wrong, and there's excessive bleeding and, like, multiple IV drips to monitor, and it's all in my hands and a provider's. But the nurses, I will be the first one to say, you're not the first, many nurses before me have said this, but I will say that, you know, nurses are the ones holding it down, like, 24/7. Providers will come when needed. And I think I'm recognizing, and have recognized for years now, since 2021, when I first envisioned my life as someone who works in the world of birth, when I had visions of trees and babies being born out of the roots of them when I was in Sedona in 2021, and I just knew that was my path. Because I had registered nurse training, I had the option. I could just go and do it. And yet I'm working in this world that is really, really taxing. It takes a lot out of me. The system, we all know, is broken, and it is in favor of patients. And while I am in this beautiful world of people creating, of people birthing something, literally a living being that's brand new into the world, and I get to be there and hold down the fort when that happens, it also drains me at times. It takes me away from the world where I could be out playing music, or I could be collaborating with other people to do creative things, and instead I so often in submitting to the fact that this work is my purpose is one of my big purposes of this life, I have to grieve, and I have to say no to a lot of my like creative desires, or my desires to play with my friends, or my desires to engage with my community, because what I'm doing at the hospital is invisible. I actually, you know, because of HIPAA and just because of the nature of the work, no one in my immediate community knows what I'm doing. And similarly, when I'm at work, I put on this other version of, you know, she's the maybe like the, you know, future midwife version of Grace, who is, you know, like rosy cheeked and has long braided hair and likes to listen to people's stories and hold their infants and sing to them. I get to step into that creative version of Grace, but there's a whole host of other things that don't get to be witnessed there, and people, you know, don't know those sides of me. And I think the competition and jealousy and comparison that arises in my community outside of work is the heaviest thing I have ever had to hold and ever had to navigate, because it has destroyed relationships. It has absolutely destroyed, or at least, you know, ruptured relationships, and has made it really hard to find stability again with certain people because of like kind of the pain I'm in, and not having as much freedom, as much spaciousness, as much time. I sometimes need 2-3 days alone in my little nest in order to recover from certain shifts or certain births, deliveries. Yeah, and I think that's a really big component of just this rock infested path, is like, can I just really believe that I'm capable of putting on some really, really solid hiking shoes and gearing the fuck up and drinking water and starting to climb and just being like, it's okay. And if I need to take a break, remembering that if I need to step to the side and like sit behind one of these rocks in the shade and just let myself breathe, that it's okay that like the sun isn't hitting me right now. It's okay. It's okay.
Softness.
Yeah, softness. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Softness.
There's so much in what you just shared that I would love to pull apart and presence more deeply. And I also want to allow you to distill some of the nectar out of what you've just shared as an offering to someone who is navigating a sense of living a dual reality, one in which they are an artist and another in which they are deeply responsible and committed to showing up to a career or a life or a family that they have created.
Yeah. Yes.
What do you say to them? How do you help them? And what light can you provide in the dark that we are in right now for that person?
Oh yeah, it's a tale as old as time, isn't it? I also think about like, I've heard this sentiment kind of echoed from mothers. Yeah, mothers who, you know, who had a lot of spaciousness and time to sit with their craft that you just don't have when you're pouring so much of your love and tenderness and nurturing into children. And it's so necessary, and that is a creative endeavor in itself. I think, wow, if you can go into your job, into even your office space, into your family, into your hospital work or your restaurant, like wherever it is that you find yourself like serving others or working, like being able to to just like tap into what it is that you are creating. Like, what is the birth? Like, we're birthing something no matter where we are, right? I think that's maybe what I got wrong a little bit, honestly, in my approach to death work, or just in my inability to like presence with it. Just the acknowledgement that like what's happening even in death, even in that environment, is the families I'm working with, the moment that person passes, an entire new chapter of their lives is beginning. Like, there's an entirely new framework for their life, like without this individual, this loved one that they cherished. I'm blessed and privileged, to be honest, to work in birth work and to be able to be in a place where there is creation occurring every time I'm there. Maybe the light within the kind of the darkness of that dual struggle is being able to presence deeply enough into where you are at work, and even if you want to run away so bad, or even if you need to break so bad, being able to say, what is being created here? What am I birthing? It's always something. There's always going to be something. Like, who, okay, I'm serving these people food. Like, how nourishing is the energy with which I'm like bringing this food to these people to like provide their experience with? Or, like this cubicle I'm sitting in, this like work I'm doing, like how am I impacting the people that are around me, even if they're not at all similar to me? How can I like change this environment? Like, witnessing how the people around me, like, how are they, even in ways that are different from me maybe, how are they showing love? How are they birthing what they're doing? Like, how can I amplify that? And how can I encourage that even more? Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
It's beautiful that you're naturally moving into the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, the essence of your advice or your pointer here is to come back to the question of devotion and of connection, and bringing a sense of love and presence.
This is an incredibly beautiful experience. I'm really grateful for the spaciousness to share like this. I am so deeply grateful. Yeah.
It's euphoric for me too, and every single episode I have recorded in the last week, and I've recorded about 5, I have been able to connect in with this sense of euphoric gratitude, or a sense that this container and this platform is going to expand and provide and heal and give so much. And I almost feel a sense of like, pinch me, I get to be a part of this. I'm so deeply touched and moved by what is happening here in these conversations. I don't know if there is an artist that I know personally and am close to that is as expressive as to the inner dimensions of their heart as you are in your work. Your songs are not only poetry, but very intimate poetry, and a deep and honest and raw exploration of what it is like to be inside of your heart. As I'm searching for words, the word bravery keeps coming through. Where did you learn that was safe and okay? Where does that come from for you, this sense of abundant vulnerability in the sharing of your heart? How did you do that?
What a lovely question.
And can you teach it? Can you guide someone who's struggling to share the vulnerability of their heart in their work and in their art?
Wow. Yeah. I feel like you say bravery, when it comes to the heart, and that makes me think of like confidence. I'm like, wow, yeah, my confidence feels definitely like a struggle, but the bravery in my own, with myself, I feel like in my heart, in that tiny world, or like big world, but you know, the intimate world with myself when I'm writing, yeah, there is bravery. I will admit there is audacity there.
Two different things, the audacity and the confidence.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it is. And again, I've actually talked a lot about like the heart and the solar plexus, these centers in my being. They are really often, I feel them at war with each other. Like I feel my heart being like, oh gosh, like if only I could blossom to my fullest potential. This lower energy center is, you know, just doing some things, just really working through some stuff. And they end up being at war together. And most of my body pain that like I feel in reaction to painful things happens, it's right in between those centers, like right at the xiphoid process, essentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess when it comes to the bravery and the ability to be really honest in my songwriting, I honestly didn't really write an official. I'm sure I wrote little things and whatnot, but you know, I was a classically trained singer. I sang other people's music. I sang opera arias. I sang in choir for 5 years, in undergraduate as well as in chorus in high school and middle school and church choirs. Just all these kind of structured containers. And it wasn't until 2021 when I wrote my first song and uploaded it to YouTube. My dad gifted me a keyboard, and I wrote this cute little ditty called Sunburnt Thoughts. And yeah, I think, I'm going to be really honest, I think something that has been instrumental in opening myself to my own heart has been psychedelics, has been psilocybin primarily, has really brought me to a world of color and a world of vision and a world of allowing me to piece together these little fragmented pieces of a mirror that I can sort of see myself in and weave them back together with tape and glue and yarn. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh my goodness, wait, there's color and there's all these little shapes and things, and I'm looking at myself and oh wow, this is actually okay. Like, wait, this thing I've created feels honest, and also I'm proud of it. It feels really beautiful. And I would say that, yeah, that medicine has been really powerful in allowing me to be a little more connective, I would say, connecting like the dots between like what I'm feeling, putting it out into language, into poetry, and then sitting at a piano or guitar and seeing what comes out. And sometimes what comes out is just a shape or a formless melody or a weird little thing, or yeah, and then it morphs over time, and I sit back down and I play it again, and then I sit back down and I play it again, and that's a vulnerable process. I don't think no one has ever watched me like write music. I've definitely only just showcased the finished product, but I think it's because it's such a private solo journey with myself to really, and often things come to me without even, I would also have to say, okay, yeah, I said psilocybin, but in psilocybin, you gotta credit God. Like, I really feel like my connection to spirit, my connection to God, you know, like through psilocybin especially, but my connection to God is first and foremost, like, you know, my ability to be connected to that which connects all of us and weaves us all together as one thing has really assisted me, of course, in being able to create. I will sometimes, you know, I was at Burning Man with you. I was at Burning Man with you.
It feels like a dream.
It does. In August of 2023. Wow, what a time, yeah. And
oh my God.
I know. Wednesday of that week, we all went out as a group, and it was the Pisces full moon, and it was a blue moon.
Great.
Because it was like, you know, it was the second moon of the month. And yeah, and I was looking up at the moon, and I remember, it was a Pisces blue moon, and I remember looking at it, and
we were both Pisces.
We were both Pisces. It was magical, and I looked at the moon, and it was like there was this blue, like almost like chakra, like almost this like chakra, like almost throat chakra, like visual that kind of engulfed the moon, and it was this blue. It was the throat chakra color, and I was just in awe. And as I was looking at the moon, I all of a sudden I looked over, and Lydia, dear Lydia, who has a Pisces moon, was standing there in her like, shimmery pink like jumpsuit, and she was looking at the moon in a way that I have never seen anyone look at anyone or anything. She was looking at this moon like she was so in love. She was just in rapture and like bathing in the like this bright white, and out in the desert it was so clear and bright and illuminating everything. And the visual of just witnessing this person be so dramatically in awe of our moon was one of the most magical things I've ever encountered, like on this planet. It was truly so magnificent. And that was August, and then about like in February and March of 2024, I all of a sudden got this, I started writing a song like that just really came to me, and it is to this day feels kind of like a magnus opum for me at this point in my creations. It just touches on so many elements of so many things. I was in the process of writing it. I got to one of the verses, and the lyrics just came to me. It was so obvious that the lyrics were going to be, let's see if I can recall. The void is cracking open soon. Behold the image of Lydia staring at the moon. And I just was like, oh, that's the title of the song, of course. And I just feel like there are these like little like oracle moments for me where I'm being fed an opportunity and a chance, and God is like, here's a moment of poetry for you to that might reveal itself 6, 7, 9, 10 months later, might reveal itself to you, and you can insert it into your world of art. And in that way, you're putting it in a time capsule. You're able to put it into something that can last for you, that you can come back to, and you can feel it over and over again. Yeah.
And that story gives me chills. I love being able to connect in with the feeling of that night with you. Mm-hmm. It's really special to me. Mm-hmm. You just provided me new language for something that happens to me as an artist that I have never found before. The way that you phrased it, you described it as an oracle experience, that things are being placed in your path, and something is asking you to pick these things up and examine them under the lens of your artistry. And we don't know why, but we know it. We must. And that is something that enlivens me so much to hear another person talk about, because I certainly experienced that too. Life is a series of maybe mundane moments, and then something will kind of just glint in the sun, and we know that is a sacred opportunity to dive in with our creativity and to reflect that beautiful thing back to itself, and to create something in reverence to it. And that is so special.
I'm actually recalling one that kind of like is a connecting one of those for both of us, where you said, didn't you say you saw like 88 on a wall in Italy? Yeah. And then you created that piece with the 8s, and now I have these like 2 infinities on my dragon tattoo, or dragonfly tattoo that you did on me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And like that thread is really beautiful to me. Yeah, and that's maybe something that had no idea that it would like carry you like into
into these different modes of creation, but yeah.
We do have a really special one, don't we?
Yes, I love that one.
Yeah.
88 and dragonflies will always be symbolic for me of you. And,
me too.
And our connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Really brief summary is that we're both experiencing, before we even met, really, this connection to dragonflies and the number 88.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I, in the summer before meeting Grace, was traveling alone in Italy and encountered this 88 and had a really touching and wild experience where I was on this. Wow! Oh my gosh! Hold on. This is
all coming back.
There's another thread too.
Wow. Okay.
I was walking on a full moon night in Italy, probably a month before I met you, and I was all alone walking in Florence and just kind of wallowing in this really strange place of existential loneliness and grief on this long night walk. I was taking these really long night walks. At that point, I was maybe 5 miles from home and just wandering along the river, and I kind of felt out of sorts, and I think I began to cry and stopped and leaned myself against a building. And I was kind of with this question and with this existential question of, how do I even know I'm really here? How do I know I'm really here?
Yeah.
And it was scary. It was raw and it was challenging. And I put my hand up against this building, this edifice. And this man biking past me slows down and looks back over his shoulder and he goes, "Tutto bene?" Are you okay?
Wow.
And it just hits me that's how I know.
Yeah. You were perceived. Someone saw you.
I was witnessed.
Yeah.
My hand is on this edifice and I look up at the number and it's 88. In that moment, I immediately recognized the significance of this number. It's the two loops, these eyes that gaze into one another. One infinity gazing into another infinity. And that's exactly how it felt the moment that we met a couple of weeks later. Just diving straight into ice cold water together and meeting for the first time and knowing that there was these two infinities. And then that number just is represented in the double wings of the dragonfly and was tattooed on your back weeks later and appeared in our Five Guys order.
I know, it's right afterwards. No, okay, yes. We went to Five Guys right after you tattooed me in the park, and our order number was 88. It was too wild.
It's just too wild.
Yeah.
And now every time I see a dragonfly, I get to remember you, and I get to remember how we know we're really here, which is the gazing into the eyes of another person. That question doesn't feel as sharp for me anymore.
Wow.
Thank God,
so
because
special.
It was really, that question haunted me for actually years. I experienced some really, I feel like I'm getting way more vulnerable right now than I normally do, but I experienced some really acute and really terrifying dissociation throughout my time in college, and shortly after that was leaving me in a place it was leaving me in a place that was really untenable and really scary, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get through. And ultimately it was painting and it was yoga. It was those two things, and the way that they dance and support with one another, that helped me up. And I think it's probably a lot of the why behind my doing what I'm doing here right now with you. Not only the act of conversing and mutually recognizing one another, but also coming into the body, finding reference within the body, and then creating from that reference is really good evidence as to the fact that we are here.
Yes.
That is all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll come into the throat now and begin to shift awareness and attention to the blueness of that. I was lucky enough to listen to you sing right before we started this, and I know the voice is something that is beyond the word meaningful, beyond that to you, and I know you spoke to your experiences coming up in the choir realm, and the voice is central to your experience here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I actually am kind of pulling off of what you were just talking about with college. It feels like a place I can go to speak about choir, actually. Yeah, to speak about my voice, and the fact that singing in choir was the only thing that like saved my life in college. There are some things that I can remember in my memory that I can pick out about college, about my 5 years in undergrad. But most of it is like a black wash. I can't even like really believe in my being that like that person was me. Like it feels so distant and disconnected from my soul and from who I am. However, I got the amazing gift of getting to audition for the St. Olaf Choir. I went to St. Olaf in Northfield, Minnesota for undergrad. And at the end of my freshman year, I auditioned for the St. Olaf Choir, which was a sophomore and higher ensemble. And I got in, and getting into that choir, which is kind of challenging if you'd ask anyone who auditioned for it. It's a challenge. It's a pretty demanding ensemble. We would rehearse Monday through Friday from 4:30 to 6 every single day, Monday through Friday. And you couldn't miss in the clause of being in the, like, if you missed, you had to be so ill. It was really disciplined. They really needed you to be there. And it was about a choir of about, like, I would say 70 to 80 people.
Wow.
And I swear, yeah, that having a place to go where I could sing for 90 minutes every single day of the week for 4 years, because I did an extra year, so I got to do 4 years in this choir. I'm pretty sure is the only thing that like kept me alive, that kept me impassioned even a smidgen, like that kept me able to function. I learned so much about the use of this actual physical, I'm massaging it right now, like back and forth, this physical vessel, incredible voice box that we have here. I would recommend something to try. that is kind of, that feels nice, that I only learned about in voice lessons. Like when you're not speaking or straining it, if you just take your hands and put them on like either side, and you can try right now if you want, like on either side of your throat, or like right, in the front here, and then gently like massage your vocal cords, like kind of side to side, your throat kind of like side to side, really gently. Especially if you're feeling strained in this energy center, or like feeling like you're getting over a cold or something, it's so nice to like help give that space a little extra spaciousness, a little extra movement.
Really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm grateful. I learned a lot of techniques of just how to keep your voice as healthy as you can, to be able to show up like that and sing in such a rigorous environment like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The voice is a lifeline. Yeah. Always so I so love that image. It's like this blue thread. I see you following through the dark of those years. I'm so grateful that it led you to me and to where we are now.
Wow. I feel like we do that not infrequently. And I will like say or sigh or like hum or do something at the exact same time. Yeah.
Alright, so you can bring the fingers even to the space between the eyebrows. Third eye center, and just as we did the other night in class, you can massage or pinch the brows and just kind of release any tension from this area. Okay, Grace.
Yeah.
It's the fun question.
The fun question.
Everybody's fun favorite
Oh my
question.
gosh, okay, I'm excited. Yeah.
So, in the third eye, of course, we are investigating ideas around intuition and vision and clairvoyance at this gift level, and I'm curious if you wouldn't mind opening up the treasure chest of your future and picking up a few things that you intuit you will create in this lifetime or would delight in creating in this lifetime, and they don't have to be music related, they don't have to be related to art necessarily. Fire some things off, and these are basically oracle cards for the future, so you can listen back to this and see which things came true.
Oh yeah. Yes, I would love to do that. Interestingly, kind of surprisingly, the first thing that came to mind for me is I would love to learn how to be a better cook and to spend much more of my time in the kitchen working with herbs and spices and seasonings, and I just love food so much that I would love to learn how to really curate a meal and just learn more about how to use my kitchen and how
to do that with you.
Yeah, I know you're an incredible cook, so I could definitely learn a lot from you.
It's one of my favorite creative acts.
I've eaten some amazing things that you've made. Yeah, and the times that I try, it actually turns out really good. I would love for my new space that I am going to inhabit for at least the next year to be a space that feels really energetically stable and feels so warm and inviting and like an oasis. I want it to feel like, I've seen videos, it might be like the Mediterranean maybe, but I've seen like these, these like this turquoise water in these like really rich, lush like caves that people are like, and like this stone that looks so strong and sturdy, and people are like wading through it. I want my space to feel like that. I want my space to feel like so grounded and stable with this like fluid motion of people coming in and me coming into myself. And yeah, I just have really crafted a vision of what it's going to look like I said earlier, and I want it to be the best space I've ever lived in. Quite honestly, I want it to be, I would love to feel so grounded and fluid at the same time in that space, and really held and really with God. Yeah, and then there's some, I guess I can name some like bigger dream things. I think I would love to be a midwife. There's so much fear surrounding what the schooling would look like and how it would disrupt my life. But I would love that. I would love to be a midwife. I'd love to be a provider, like someone who can actually is, certified to deliver and catch someone's baby, and be the person who walks them through the whole process of their pregnancy. Additionally, I would love to go to maybe not like a full seminary master's degree program, but I would love to go to like maybe get a certificate at a seminary and weave that into my midwife practice, so that I could not only walk people through the physical aspects of what they're going to endure and like through their birth, but I would also love to be almost like a spiritual doula for them in the process of, and help them like curate, meals that are Ayurvedic as well as like supportive to them in their pregnancy and their needs, and like I love to bring prayer and intention into their experience. I'd love to bring ceremony into the experience and facilitate, you know, like belly painting and like just beautiful, sensual things. I would love to bring beauty and spirit and God into and devotional practice into someone's pregnancy and their birth. I feel like that's honestly, if I could name my biggest dream for my own individual self without like the collaboration that I could probably embark on with other people, that is maybe my biggest dream for my own self. I think I'm not entirely certain if I want children of my own, but I would love to be, as I age, wiser and wiser and wiser, and I would love to be able to be a presence in young people's lives, especially the youth of my friends who birth children into the world. And I would love to be like a trusted, you know, even as we all get a lot older, like a trusted crone figure for the children who get into their teens and 20s and 30s of my friends, and be able to help be a guidepost and help be someone who can support, hopefully financially, emotionally, to have a place for them to come stay. I would love that. Yeah, I think lastly, I will say that I would love, I'm going to manifest it, I'm going to say it, I'm going to make it happen. I would love to heal this solar plexus center, this rocky terrain that has these giant cliff-like rocks in front of me, by doing things like this, by really returning to the truth of connection with a loved one.
Where's your hand?
My hand. Hold my hand. Yeah, I would love to, in the next maybe 5 years, really do the work to melt the ice around my heart and really start to be able to say, oh my goodness, we are all dealing with the same fears, the same joys, the same shit day in and day out. We're doing different things, but it is all the same. And I am allowed to like be as I am, and you are allowed to be as you are, and it's all the same. And I love you. I would love for that to be like the attitude in which I put on as I go out the door every single day. And I can't wait to have a cup that's full enough to do that can overflow with my love in that way. I think that's all I'll say for right now. I think I have so many like artistic ideas, but they're all a little more like scattered, or a little more just like happening as I go. So I don't know that I have full big visions for certain art and music things right now. But actually, that's a lie. I'm so sorry. I'll say one thing about music. I would love to perform in front of people more. I would love to start by going to open mics and then maybe start to book gigs. I would love to start playing my music, even more than writing an album, though I would love to, or I've written an album basically, but even more than recording an album or recording and producing, I would love to be in a public space, and that's even more of a growing edge for me, so I think it's even more important. I would love to be in more spaces where I can really drop into like the presence of whatever's alive inside of me, and really bring that honestly and vulnerably to the space I'm in.
I love that.
And share it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me name all my
Of course. Of course. We have explored a bit about your connection to the divine and God, and as someone so connected to spirit, it has naturally been sprinkled and peppered in through this entire conversation. And the question I've been ending the podcast with is, where do you think the energy of creation comes from?
Wow.
And this is the crown, so we're here in the space beyond the great dome of the skull, and up and out into the unknown.
Wow. Water for me is just one I come back to over and over and over again. For ritual, for, I mean, in birth, in pregnancy, it is the amniotic fluid this baby is being kind of suspended and growing and being nurtured in this little warm tub of water that's so nourishing and so life-giving, and then it pops when you're giving birth. I feel like so much of creation can go back to water, can go back to. And when I think of, when I think of the void, and when I think about you, I think about, actually, when I was asking, okay, I'm going to go on a tiny tangent, but it'll circle back, I promise. Before I met you, I asked Karina, our dear friend Karina, to describe you, and she described you as many things. The one that stood out to me that I remember to this day was, she was like, think of like the deepest part, like deep in the ocean, where it's like almost black but like still blue, and like you can still see hues and like bioluminescence, and like that feels like Quincy. And I would definitely, I would agree with that. Yeah, I love sharing with people the beautiful things other people have said to me about them, because I feel like we need to be expressing these things to each other so much more openly. Like, we need to be sharing the poetic beauty of beautiful love that we have for each other with like unabashed. Yeah, and so I'm glad you got to hear it.
That's delicious.
Oh yeah, I think you have goosebumps too.
So sweet.
Yeah, and I think like, when I think of the void, or if I could like put any sort of like shape or element or anything to that, it's like the deepest part of the ocean, where there's like, you can't see anything, and it's black essentially, but it's also like slightly blue with this potential, this hope of water, of life, of creation, of so I feel like, and so much of, there's so many beautiful creation narratives of like how we got here, how Earth came to be, how humans came to be on this earth. And I love, there's a book called The Great Cosmic Mother, and I'm forgetting the author in this moment, but it does talk about this womb, this water that just covered the entire landscape of Earth, and how life springs from that, life grows from that, green things bud from that, and sticky things form to other sticky things, and they make more of them. I think that, to answer that question, it feels like, and I honestly kind of love like a baptism ritual, where like you are bathed in water, or water is put on your head, or especially like, maybe as an adult I need to go like rebaptize in a body of water, because it just feels like such a great way to come back to the remembrance that this is where you came from. This is where we all maybe came from, and we will all, I think, eventually return there. It's far away from now, but when the earth, maybe when some land is swallowed up again by water, by the oceans, and it's a powerful force.
I love this response, and it feels so full circle with the moment of meeting you for the first time. I feel really held in this water. Thank you so much, Grace. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Quincy.
Where can people find the things that you're creating? Do you want to share?
Yeah, I'd love to. I have a YouTube. I am on Instagram, and I also have a Patreon, but both my Patreon and YouTube are linked in the bio of my Instagram. But all of those are named Feisty Angel of Love. So Feisty Angel of Love. And that's where you can find it. I post all of the songs I write, since I don't really have like any recording equipment right now. I I just post videos of them on YouTube. So, yeah.
They're beautiful videos. And I particularly adore your Acorn Session concert.
Yeah.
And I would love to point people towards that because I find it to be just one of my favorite performances that anyone has ever done. If people are looking for a very intimate and tender performance of yours, they can find that on the Acorn Sessions YouTube page. And I will link all of those things in the show notes. And thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Quincy. I'm truly really, really, really honored and like feeling like bursting with gratitude. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for journeying with me into the fertile void on the Vision Seed podcast. As we emerge from this space, it's my hope that the whisper of inspiration may take root and aid you in your creative path. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share it, leave a review, and follow along with us on social media. Until next time, keep dancing in the dark and cultivating the seeds of your creative vision. Bye-bye.